How many of y'all learned about Henry Adams? The black man that Frederick Douglass publicly opposed. The black man that led 30,000 black people out of the South and into Kansas in 1879. All for the purpose of founding a black nation? This is not your textbook history. Henry Adams' slave owner, Nancy, she didn't let him go until Shreveport, Louisiana surrendered to the Union. Just a month before Juneteenth. Yet after slavery ended, Henry figured out a way to make some money. He got his own cart, delivered beer, and had his own hauling business. But that wasn't enough for him. A little later, he made money as a woodcutter and a plantation manager. Made good money, too. But that was not enough for him. It was Reconstruction, and he seen all these black men winning elections. But he realized they were pawns. The Republican Party wanted to humiliate the ex-Confederacy. And the best way to do that was to give us representation in states all across the South, without real political power. Meanwhile, the Freedmen's Bureau, that was supposed to be a way for the federal government to step in and help us become full citizens. It was supposed to be a safe place to plant our money. It was supposed to uplift us. But it was underfunded. So Henry said, that doesn't make any sense. All of this was happening while the ex-Confederates were forming secret societies aimed at regaining control of the government. These were the same people burning down our communities, the same people lynching us, but then said we brought it upon ourselves. Called us the troublemakers. Sound familiar? Henry said there's got to be more life than this. He left his business and joined the army for 3 years. That's where he became a quartermaster sergeant and learned to read and write. Then in 1870, he formed a committee. They investigated the conditions of formerly enslaved people from Virginia to Louisiana. They looked at working conditions, pay, violence, and realized we had all these black faces in high places. Yet our conditions looked bleak. Our conditions were getting worse. After a 4-year investigation, the now 500-member committee concluded that we had no other option but to leave the South. In 1874, they formed a secret fraternal society called the Colonization Council. It attracted 98,000 members in its first year. Before leaving the South, they petitioned the federal government to help improve their conditions. Didn't work. That same year, Frederick Douglass became president of the Freedmen's Bureau. Didn't work. So in 1879 and 1880, Henry Adams led 30,000 black people out of the South. They called them exodusters, and into Kansas to form a black colony. Woo! Frederick Douglass was all in his feelings. He told them Negroes to stay put, improve your conditions. But Henry and those master Negroes simply said no. They said, you ain't living the life we live. You don't see the circumstances how we see them. And we aren't waiting on a leader validated by the establishment to tell us what to do. So when I think about the legacy of Henry Adams, I think about his critique of government. I think about the research the committee did. I think about how he moved in silence. I think about how we don't even have a picture of him. And yet he's a cornerstone for black builders everywhere. There is so much more we have to do to stand on his shoulders. There has to be more to life than our conditions.